Didn't see that.
Everyone's there.
You can't not have a little boogie to that, can you?
You can't.
We're all live. Luke, tell me, you're the IT guy. Does it all work?
Yeah. The intro's played. We are live.
We are live. All right, let's rip into it. We've got a lot to cover. All right, so everybody, welcome to Aussie Craft Distillers Shooting the Shit. This is our little Facebook Live, podcast, YouTube, whatever. It's a combination of things, thanks to the genius of Luke, local nerd. And what we do, we are all about just having conversation, shooting the shit Australian style with people in the industry. Local distillers, international distillers, cooperers, maltsters, and people that help us to put our product out there. So it's an exciting industry, and we thought this is a cool thing to do. Whether it's for shits and giggles and it goes somewhere, we'll see. But we're enjoying ourselves, and we get our good friends on. And tonight, we have royalty in the house tonight.
Where are they?
And we'll talk to royalty in a second while they pour themselves a drink. In the meantime, I will introduce the rest of the crew. That is Aussie Craft Distillers Shooting the Shit. So I am Crafty, or Craig, from Craftworks Distillery. And yes, that is a metal tin shed. And yes, that is my distillery. And yes, I am working. My counterparts are
Apparently.
Luke. No, I am. Don't worry. I've got a lot to do tonight, believe me. Luke, local nerd, IT extraordinaire, whiskey lover,
Also in my shed.
And he's in his shed. And so, Luke, how are you, my friend?
I'm very good, thank you. Very well.
Yeah, you're in for a good one tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Looking forward to it.
We're going to have some fun tonight. All right. And then below Luke, not actually below him, but in the box below. Oh, no, he's gone. He's gone on the main screen now.
On the main screen now, yeah.
This technology.
I know. It's hard to keep up, isn't it?
It's called focus.
Bring back the 386. That's what I say. Anyway, so we have my good friend, my creative partner, Todd, otherwise known as The Todd, which is a name which will be explained in detail tonight, I believe. So, Todd, how are you, my friend?
I am awesome.
I am awesome.
Yep.
The enthusiasm is dripping.
It is. Electrifying tonight.
Sorry, say it again.
It's electrifying.
This is
electrifying. All that excitement.
That's it.
I'm
just trying to contain myself.
Do you want to borrow the talking stick?
Yeah, I'm trying to contain myself for what's to come tonight.
What's to come? Well, let's move on then. So, our guests tonight that we're going to shoot the shit with are friends of ours. I've known Nick and Ellie for many years. They are my gin mentor. And they are great friends, great people. They are now royalty with what they have won internationally. It is mind-blowing, and we're going to talk about that shortly. But Nick and Ellie, how are you guys?
I am excited to be here.
Very good. Very good. See, you can use I am in any conversation. It's so easy.
I'm not sure. Oh, wait, you can.
That was I am.
I'm from Western Sydney. We don't know how to say I am. I am.
It's pronounced oim.
Oim.
Oim. Oh, no, don't do that. You're trashing the brand. You're trashing the brand. All right, so let's move on to what is everyone drinking. So I am currently drinking tonight another one. I had it last time. My good friend Davey Boy from Hop and Clover Brewery, Gypsy Brewer. I'm drinking his Irish Red Ale. Nice smoky red ale tonight.
It's a cracking beer, that one.
It is, I know. And thank you to Mr. Peter Bignall from Belgrove Distillery. We swappy samples, and I've got these bloody cameras. I've got a hopped, no, it's that one. I've got a hopped whiskey, 46%, because he knows I'm interested in beer style whiskies. and oh, Jesus,
The other.
it's right. 45. I'm putting them down. Right, Luke, what do you got in your glass, mate?
All right. I have got the only just released Snowy Mountains bourbon cask, Snowy Mountains Distillery in Jindabyne.
Yeah.
Focus, camera, focus. So yeah, I managed to get a hold of a bottle. It's only, I don't think it's even on the website yet. So I
I
kind of,
don't think Mark's released yet.
I sent them away. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And 54.7%. Bottle number 34 of 66. How's that?
Wow.
That's
Well, my
small
friend.
batch stuff. It's lovely.
All right, we'll touch on that a bit later on. And the Todd, what do you got, mate? What are you drinking?
Hobart Whiskey's signature again.
Nice.
Very nice, 48.7%, I believe it is.
Very nice.
Very drinkable.
Excellent.
Not much left anymore.
All right, so I won't get to drink any of it. Thanks. Okay. All right.
I'll save some for you. How's that?
All right. Very good. Okay. And Nick and Ellie, what are you drinking? What's in your glasses?
A lot of things.
Yeah, we're mixing up a bit.
I think you're celebrating, ain't you?
Yeah, so I made us a smoke and choke cocktail.
Smoke and choke.
Smoke
Yeah.
and choke. Right.
It's
All right.
it's amazing.
What is in that?
It's like my favorite cocktail. So we've got Craftworks, Grumpy Old Man on a Hill, Sinar, salt, and a big ice cube and orange peel. And you just kind of like mix that up together and then garnish with over ice and more orange. It's phenomenal.
What about the rum syrup?
Right.
Oh yeah, and also a rum syrup thing that I've made up. So there's just like a little bit of that in there to kind of like, get everything into place. It's really, really, really nice. And then
Right.
I've got Black Gates
Yes.
Proof Dark
Yes.
Rum because that's one of my favorites and I
not?
can't stay away from it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome rum,
It's a
that.
good one.
Awesome. I got that on my bar.
I've got the smoke and choke, and I'm sort of mixing up between the Belgrove Rye because I fucking love it, and the Blackgate Apera. That one, that is just sessionable. It just goes quickly. I wanted to find a watch to put on it because on AWAS everyone's putting watches on their whiskey. I'm not sure why, but we don't actually have a watch,
I have a Fitbit.
so we're going to put it
Yeah,
on
you
there.
can stick that on there.
That'll
Okay.
work.
Now,
Absolutely.
Nico, we can be on AWAS.
They did.
Yeah, so I'm mixing up between the pair is really nice. Like it's got a nice, it's not too like, it's actually really sessionable, which is cool. Like it just kind of, it's got all that
Deliciousness.
deliciousness. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
fucking.
that'll do.
Ali normally describes things.
Technical term though, isn't it? Deliciousness.
Deliciousness.
Yeah.
It is the good.
I see it on Facebook notes all the time.
Tis
Yeah.
good. Tis good. Tis Dom. All right. Well, let's briefly talk about who you are. Where did you start? And where are you at right now? Where you are right now pre-yesterday. So we won't talk about today. We'll talk about that separately. If you know what I mean.
Cast
Well,
your mind way back.
Start
I
again.
change like persons every 3 months. So I'm still trying to figure out who I am this quarter.
So where did it all begin?
Probably in this very room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it looks different to what it did back then, but yeah, we were just like I was working a 9-to-5 job that I'd been at for quite some time. Nick had been working a job that required very unusual hours. So we would basically just only have like maybe a day if we're lucky to even really see each other. But when we did, we would like basically just pour ourselves like a drink and just start like just talking and sitting out in this very room. And one day we were just deciding, you know, like if you could do anything in the world and it didn't really matter about money or anything like that. And I know that other distillers around here are just like, yep, that all makes sense in that little bracket. So it was just like, if you could do anything and money wasn't an issue, what would you be? I would turn back now and be a sushi chef. But yeah, we decided that we wanted to start a bar, and then looked more into it, and we were just like, we just like what's behind the bar a little bit more. So we put ourselves a whiskey, and we're like, you know what, we can actually make this. Like, someone out there has made it. So then starting to chase that trail a little bit more. Over to you, Nick.
Yeah, so we, in just a little bit before that, we turned our entire back room into a dive bar because we had the whole lockdown in Sydney, not COVID, but just
you can't go anywhere.
You can't go out and do anything. You can't do a single thing, and just was very boring. So we just turned our back bar, like the back room, into like a dive bar. We had like band posters up, and we had full bar, and we used to host like charity nights where we would run the bar for the whole night and would make drinks for our friends, and they bought them. Then we'd donate that money the next day to Salvo's, and it was like this Salvo's Christmas party that all our friends. So we'd sort of raise like a couple grand each year, and everyone would get really pissed, and we'd just sort of have a bit of fun making drinks. And in that process, we kept buying different spirits and trying different cocktails, and it just kind of like Ali said, it just kind of led us into really getting interested in what was behind the bar. And so we started heading around and seeing other distilleries and reading up on them and going to master classes and studying what we could.
Yeah, we went to Tasmania. We did the infamous, like back then it was called the Redlands course, which I believe is like booked out, but we were like constantly, but we were like the only people in there. And so we got like a lot of like hands-on one-on-one kind of experiences that I guess you wouldn't get to do in much larger classes now. Yeah. And just they teach you about like all the really nitty-gritty stuff, like how to do your taxes and all of that fun stuff. And so if you want to back out, like if you didn't like what was happening in that course, then you're probably not going to like having a distillery. So it kind of gave you that big perspective. And then after that, we're just like, you know what, that was cool. I like that. We can do that. So
yeah, it was pretty cool. It was winter. We're in the middle of. I was working on the Aliens movie that Ridley Scott was shooting here, and snuck away for a week. And Ali was working in she was moving up in the sort of world of the was it?
Still in my dead end job.
Oh, she was still in the dead end one. And she ended up getting a really good job after it and moving up really quickly, and just walked away from it for Karu. But we'll get to there. Yeah, we just snuck down during winter. It was fucking freezing, and just like hung out and did this course making whiskey and learning everything about it, and started heading around meeting other distillers. Went and saw Peter from Belgrove, absolutely blown away from there. After that, we got back and we're traveling around meeting other distillers, and
there wasn't that many. The
community is amazing. Yeah,
at that stage, there was about 70 at that stage,
and everyone was lending us a hand. Like the guys from Poor Tom's, we went around and they helped. They were giving us as much information as they could, and same with Baker Williams and Reg and Greta are still from. I don't know if we're allowed to even say where they're from. Whatever. Reg and Greta they're still helping us to this day. Peter, we get stuck on something from Belgrove, we're messaging him and asking him. It's just like a really cool industry, and we just sort of from that's kind of the part that made us like stay and persevere more, because it was. And then
when we first started, and that's when we met Crafty. Was like on one of our very first kind of days of school, and so we went to like the New South Wales Distillers Meetup, which was its very first year, and we were invited by a guy called Crafty. So what do you do when some stranger invites you to a party? You just go. So we went, and he's like, "What are you guys doing here?" We're like, "You invited us here." And then everyone's like, "What are you guys doing here?" We're like, "Crafty." And everyone's like, "Crafty." But, it was pretty cool. And then just being like, just kind of at the time, like we ordered our still, which is his name's Calcifer. So he's built for making whiskey, because that's what we learned how to do initially. and then we just fell in love with the kinds of gins that Australia was doing. So everyone just thinks that like, and I was guilty of this as well, just going, okay, gin is just London dry and that's it. And I wasn't a fan of that at that stage. So I just damned the whole category of spirits just by the fact that my palate wasn't up to it yet. And started exploring the contemporary genre, which is what Australia is becoming really famous for. And just going, you know what, I don't actually not like gin at all. There was just not the gin out there for us. So that's when we decided that we would create it, and we had an affinity for affinity, and created that. And it all pretty much started from there. Now we're too far in.
So you started with whiskey, but decided not to go down the whiskey line. Then you moved into gin, and you focused in gin, and you carved out a solid reputation in gin. And I think it's fair to say, with just the speed of the gin movement in Australia, you're actually one of the early crowd. You're seasoned veterans now in the industry.
It's now like the third year of apprenticeship.
Yeah. I mean, there's a gin distiller. Hang on, there's another one. Hang on, there's another one. It's going ballistic. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's now move on to.
Sorry. Before we move on, so does that mean you've been going for 3 years?
Yeah. So our commercial journey started for like three years, but prior to that, we were going around and learning for 3 years. So that's 6 years. Pretty much chunked total. Yeah.
We released it in August 2018.
Yeah.
We've been out in the market since then.
And Karu became Karu Distillery in 2017.
Right. That's a very quick rise to fame.
I wouldn't say
Overnight success.
Hang on.
That's an overnight success.
I wouldn't say fame.
I've said to Nick, because they have entered a lot of competitions from day one, both locally and internationally. And I've said to Nick, for fuck's sake, go and get a jacket and just stick all your medals on the back and just wear the damn thing, because the weight of awards that you guys are winning is phenomenal. Which leads me to tell us the latest news that you would like to share with the general population.
As it currently stands, we are the highest awarded gin in not only Australia but in the world. We are one of 9 that hold this place of outstanding golds in the entire world, and the only Australian this year. Yeah.
IWSC.
That's well done, guys.
Really impressive.
That was awesome.
But you scored 98 in the International Whiskey Spirits competition. There was no 98s in Australia. You were the only 98. So it wasn't just gin; it was spirits in general.
Oh, really?
God.
You didn't know that, did you? There's another one. So, no, it's impressive. It's a credit to your approach, and you're very technical, very focused on the craft, and holding to your vision. You're not deviated from your vision. So, well done, guys. Well done.
That's for the lightning.
That's for the lightning, yeah.
Yeah, so that's lightning. So
it's so cool. We've had all. What's that? Sorry.
Now, if I can just read the tasting note.
From
from the IWSC. So layered and compelling, juniper and spice run alongside other botanicals. Great mouthfeel with citrus at the fore and good botanical boldness. With added water, the floral parts open up a lot with waves of spice.
Yeah, that's our lightning.
That sounds pretty damn good.
It's pretty striking.
It's pretty striking. It's a very special. For us, it's really special. It's the second gin that we released. And so we're not one of those distilleries that have like a lot of different gins and stuff like that, solely because, one, we don't have the space. Yeah, two, it's like we really want to focus on our kind of core, because our distillery journey it's just at the start. So we plan to add a whole lot of things into it and be a distillery, and not like branded as a gin distillery or anything else, or a liqueur factory or a rum distillery. It's one of those things where it's like you just want to have the role, and it will take a lot of time to be distillery. Yeah. And so that was the very beginning of our journey. And so it really, Affinity and Lightning are very, very, very different as well. Lightning's not just a higher ABV affinity. It's completely different, and it has a lot more of like it kind of reflects the journey of where we were at the time. So Affinity was the gin for us to start drinking gin, and then Lightning was our kind of, you start learning about things and what Navy strength is, and just how hard a Navy strength is to actually make, because it has a lot of like water, like it has like water solubles and a whole lot of different, like a different,
sorry,
like
what is Navy strength?
Yeah, so it's an umbrella term given to spirits that are 57 to 58% only. So it's a very thin window.
So in particular, are they?
Yeah, so it's because it has like a different kind of molecular structure around it. So it has like when you plan to release something at a certain ABV, you kind of focus for things that are more like, if that's a more water soluble, like botanical, or if, like, I guess you guys are nerds, you guys will get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Water soluble, alcohol soluble.
Yeah. So it's like, and everything that connects like differently, every like
different aromas.
Yeah. So different kind of molecules from different botanicals connecting to either the water, and then it comes back down, and then it rises up, and yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to try something. That's some of your awards that I've just listed on your website there, which obviously now you're going to have to expand out a little bit with another one in the middle there. Have you got enough?
What?
Yeah, have you got enough?
We just entered to get feedback.
Yeah, we just entered literally to get feedback, because we were learning. We still are learning.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing, though, to get that many awards in such a relatively short amount of time. Incredible.
Thank you.
But it's not just the awards; it's the recognition from your peers as well, and just people in the industry. That means a lot. And as you said, you're after feedback. That's a lot of the reasons why you enter competitions is feedback.
100%.
Yeah.
Today's been amazing. We've had phone calls and messages from fellow distillers all across the country.
Today.
I just had Rick from Kaiki ring us up today and just congratulate us. Ali said the same. Steve from Ben Lee. Message. Like, we've had Felix from Esther message us like 4 a.m. got a message being like, congratulations, guys. Like, what do we mean?
Painted Saint Gin also congratulated us today as well. The Gin Queen.
Gin Queen. Really, there's more. There's been so many of our peers have just been like, and that's the thing we absolutely fucking love about this industry is like so many people, like just the support network within our industry is incredible.
Yeah, and that's what we hope remains. That's what needs to remain in our industry.
So we've just had a question come through from James Finnegan. What other spirits are you working on or looking to release?
I think
James on the left-hand
side. James knows, he's been there while I've been making some. So, like almost every other day, I make like rum new make and then put it in barrels and try to forget about it for an extensive period of time. Merida has just released, so that was about 3 years in the making as well. So we wanted to we were working on that at the same time as we were working with Affinity, but then we got very busy and kind of had to put that on the back burner. But during COVID, we were able to get a little bit more, like I finally caught up with my rum production and we were able to kind of figure this out a little bit more because it's something that we really wanted. And we don't really just release things into our core range that we don't particularly really like. So we were a very big fan of what Merida, which is here, is and was going to become. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions. We have also got liqueurs that are on the way that has been a thing that people keep asking us about for the last 2 years.
Right.
The bottles and labels made up for them, but we
We just haven't been able to work properly on the actual recipe.
So you've got a thing about Merida, and you've got a passion for Mexicans, anything Mexican food and that, I believe. Yeah. So I believe you've got a bit of knowledge about Mexico and Mexicans in general and spirits and that. Would that be fair to say? He's going.
Well,
where's he going? Where's he going with this?
Where's he going?
He's going here. He's going here.
We absolutely love tequila and mezcal. Tequila and mezcal is one of the reasons we are in this mess completely.
Yeah. Just another little plug because
yeah. That was going to come on the table. Thanks for reminding us.
How fucking good is that?
Oh, it's
Stephen and Rosemary from Black Snake Distillery in New South Wales. Another New South Wales distillery.
Wow, yeah. That stuff is just Moorish.
Oh, yeah. It's really, really, really good, and they are the nicest people. Like the world does not deserve them. They are so fantastic.
Absolutely.
No, it's open.
Oh, good.
Right, let's go back to the Mexican thing. So we're going to give Todd his. Oh crap! I hate these cameras. There we go.
That's it. My
the Todd's 5 seconds of fame. He knows
Apparently,
a few things about Mexico, and he'd like to ask you a few questions. Todd.
Yeah. So of the 14 questions I had sorted out, there's only 3 to do with the end bit. But anyway.
All right. Go with the 3 and we'll move on from there.
Yeah.
This is highly rehearsed, people.
So it's not necessarily about Mexico, okay? So we'll start off with an easy one.
That's destroyed the whole.
Just build us in, okay? So how big a bottle of Tabasco Chipotle sauce is at Ellie's Pantry?
Oh, I got 2.5 liters of it for Christmas.
I got her.
I literally have everything. If I eat a salad, I have Chipotle Tabasco. If I eat ice cream, Chipotle Tabasco. If I have a sandwich, it's Chipotle Tabasco. Like I drink it like it's water. I love it.
Yeah,
that's like my grossest habit ever. Is that.
Okay, so continuing on that theme, then, what type of peppers are smoked and dried to produce Chipotle chilies?
Meco Merida.
These two here. So the Meco. They're both red jalapenos. Meco, that's smoked with pecan wood, and then the Merida, they're both red jalapenos, and the Merida's a bit more on the fruity side.
Yeah, so one's is able to grow a lot bigger, and it's smoked for longer, and then Merida is kind of more of like the earlier harvest and is smoked for less time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Got more out of that question than I thought I was going to, and it really did not.
We actually turned the waste botanicals for this into a chili paste.
Chili paste. So we also eat that on everything.
So that's coming out soon.
Yeah, put me down for a bottle of that.
Yeah.
So the last question in the sort of Mexican stroke chili questions is how hot is Chipotle chilies?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
If I can eat it.
Yeah.
Would you happen to know what the Scoville scale is? By any chance?
Oh, it's a little bit above mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise, 2,500 to 8,000.
It's what? Sorry?
2,500 to 8,000 Scovilles.
Well, that's not a lot.
It's a bit. It's mild, but jalapenos are pretty mild compared to some of those other ones.
What's the hottest chili?
Oh, Carolina Reaper, a special release of Carolina Reaper.
And
What about white ghost
and
pepper
then-
chips?
and it-
They're pretty
And
good.
it's up in the millions somewhere. It's nuts.
yeah, like
Yeah, there's
It's,
some stuff that will liquefy
no,
you
guys-
from the inside before it and eat you alive.
it's just fucking ridiculous.
Have you
Yeah.
ever seen
Sleeps in people's faces'
YouTube
mouth.
clips, the Carolina Reaper challenge, where someone will sit there and go, "I'm going to eat a Carolina Reaper," and they chomp on it and half kills them.
Yeah.
It's very amusing.
We have a friend who literally eats everything with like the hottest of the hot sauce, where it's like if they have the lid off it and I walk past, I will start going into a coughing fit. It is like bear mace. And yeah, they literally can't live without it. And we'll go to restaurants with them and they're just like, I will pay you a very, very generous tip if you try to kill me with chilies. And
He bought this chili oil to a party, and everyone was just being drunk and putting it on things. And suddenly one of our friends went home because he went to the bathroom
and never saw him again.
and he forgot to wash his hands.
Oh,
He never came out of the bathroom. He just got in his car and drove home. Or to the
Sorry.
hospital, I don't know.
Sorry for this.
Yeah, you only do that once.
So our entire
Peter
kind of
Pickles rye.
friendship circle revolves around a lot of spicy stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So
But-
that
but
makes a lot of sense then. Yeah. Marina makes
Marina's not too spicy. Like we worked really
I just
hard
said
on
that.
Marina to make it a nice balance of spice and flavor. It's kind of like it's just like a burrito in a bottle.
Yeah,
It's-
so when we were approaching this, it was something that was more like something that had like spice with purpose. So like
Yeah.
Nick and I don't like things that are like just spicy for no reason. It's stuff
it's
that
gotta add
more has a
something.
bit of like depth and flavor. And so like we've lived off Mexican beans now for about 2 years. And so, eventually you've eaten enough, you just want to kind of drink it too. So yeah, so we kind of like modeled a spirit after our own dietary requirements.
Very
So
good.
it's an unusual product, and it's quite a ballsy move to put something out there like that. What's your target with that? Are you specifically looking at high-end bars for that? Are you looking at just trying to educate people with that there's more to vodka than just ethanol? What's your approach?
It's just a super playful
For
spirit.
us, we really wanted to, because we've got breakfast is the first part of the day. And so like when you
Thank you for that.
when you've had a very big night
That's what I've been
with
doing
all
wrong.
pals, you wake up and you want to have a Bloody Mary. So we wanted to create like a culture around this, not like a campaign, but like
Yeah, wait. If the ABAC's watching,
Crafty imitating me. Yeah. And so just to have it be something that was like really good as like a kind of like an alternative spirit and stuff like that. And also showing people that like, the vodka can be just as playful as like gin, and also have its purpose and place as well. Where we like to, don't shoot me, but like we like to drink really high caliber kind of like vodkas and stuff like that as well. And they all have their place. And so we wanted to create something that had its place as well. And that was in more of the acidic cocktails and, a lot more of like your sour. So like with gin, we've gone very like, just classic cocktail focus and gin and tonic focused, but with Marita it was really, we wanted to go into and dive into a different cocktail style of realm that is a bit more like a lot different from where we're used to coming from.
And is it something that you would have like on its own neat, or is it best in a cocktail? How should we drink it? How should we enjoy it? What's your preference as the loving parents of it? How should we?
I absolutely love it with lime soda. It is great neat, and you could sit there and session on it neat, but really it's super playful in
It
cocktails.
heroes in a soda. Like it's really, really good.
Okay, and a soda. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one we've got. Sorry. The strange I've brought out this one.
Lime and jalapeno.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good with that. But yeah, like your lime sodas, it's fantastic in Bloody Marys. A little bit of it in a margarita. Bit of pink grapefruit juice is also fantastic. Or going back into the old school vodka cranberry, it actually dominates in a vodka cranberry.
Oh wow, yeah.
Right.
And also, I've gone for like I started researching like just Mexican drinks. Doesn't have to be a cocktail. So a very popular drink there is called the mangonada. So I made up the whole sauce for it, which is like apricot jam, ancho chili, salt and lime. And yeah, you just kind of reduce that, and that's kind of what's on the rimming part of it and on the inside. And then you just blend up mango, lime juice and everything like that. And then, yeah, just add margarita to it. And it is like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Your house sounds really fucking good.
Yeah. So we have people over when we can. And like, it's just like when we're able to have people over when it's in between all of these kind of like miscellaneous lockdowns, it's just like having people over. It's just like, oh guys, come over, like I've got this thing that I've been thinking of and I need someone to drink a lot of it, like in case yeah,
That's really cool. Hey, we just had a comment on the screen from Rachel McNeil from Isla Whiskey Academy. Rachel's a good friend of ours.
Hi Rachel.
Rachel is really, really nice comments there. Lots of structure and layering in their distillates. So she appreciates the arts and the craft. And you guys are very technical in your approach. You come at it from a food perspective and matching and flavor profiles, but you're also very technical in how you put things together. So, yeah, that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. All right, that's enough of that. That's enough of that shit. I think it's time for another. Dun, dun, dun. Where's the sound effect, Luke? You had a sound effect. Where'd it go?
Yep. That was it.
Oh, right.
Oh, was it? Fantastic.
Todd's got some more questions. Now, one of the questions is about Todd is my, as you well know, he's my apprentice.
Was that the question?
Lib now.
What?
Was that the question?
It's all good. I'm going to lib.
This is called leading the witness.
No, yeah, it's still good. It's still good.
The question
This
is
the
Todd your
story of
apprentice?
my life in the shed.
For those that don't know, for 3 years I put myself on a self-imposed apprenticeship, called myself the apprentice, and Todd was the apprentice. Then when I graduated to start calling myself distiller, Todd became the apprentice. So Todd is still the apprentice. So Todd, as the apprentice, what questions have you got?
Gee, you're a cat.
Todd? Don't do that.
That was a different C word there that I.
No C words. Okay, so one thing I did want to acknowledge is that, as everyone knows, I'm called the Todd, but the two people who were on the main screen are the guys that called me the Todd.
We did.
For the first time.
You coined the term.
It was you coined the term.
Yeah.
It actually started off. We met each other at World Whiskey Day at Blackgate back in 2020. I think it was 2019. I think it was. And Crafty did his usual spiel about me being the right-hand man and things, and somehow it got on to, well, everyone needs a Todd. And then that sort of turned into, well, I am the Todd. So thank you for that one. So it's been used.
At least it wasn't Blend
all
Boy.
over the
At least
shop.
it wasn't Blend Boy.
No, it wasn't Blend Boy. Thankfully. Okay.
Right, what's the questions?
So we need to ask some questions again. So this is for everyone in the room to see who can get in there quick. Hopefully the gin. Okay, so true or false? The freezing point of vodka is minus 27 degrees.
Oh, fuck, hang on, let me
I
check
guess
Google.
so. No, it's less than that, isn't it? I don't know.
So again, the
It's
freezing
actually
point
before
of
it gets to
vodka.
that point.
True or false? The freezing point of vodka is minus 27 degrees.
Is
I'm
Peter
going to say
Bignell on the feed?
false.
True.
It's
Oh, wait,
true.
freezing point? It doesn't.
Oh, I know the answer.
No.
Oh.
Is Peter on the feed?
Okay.
Luke, is Peter on the feed?
Oh, what is it?
It doesn't freeze. If it's not high enough. Maybe.
Well, if
I'm
you
really
get down low,
Everything freezes. Everything freezes if you get it cold enough.
Yeah, so going
Below
by
zero.
my extensive research last night, it freezes at minus 27 degrees, so it's true.
I can't even
I
fathom
do
that.
remember looking that up once.
If I freak out when it
It's-
drops to
it's-
22 degrees.
There you go.
I wonder why
Lucky
it's
didn't
above
go that extra.
sorry. Like-
Okay, learn
Okay,
something.
so jumping on to gin then. What's
Yep.
the minimum ABV for a true gin?
37.
Okay, cool.
And that's international.
Ta-da!
37.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an international law.
Yep.
Okay, this is one that I found was quite interesting. Which country drinks the most gin per capita?
I'm going to say Australia because it's just so much.
Netherlands?
India.
No, it's actually Spain, and they drink on average 1.07 liters
that
per
makes
Yeah,
sense,
that's where we
actually.
had I had my first gin and
Yeah,
tonic
that's
was
where
in
we had our
Barcelona.
first gin and tonic.
Yeah.
Barcelona.
Big fish bowl.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, what do you want to drink?" And I'm like, "I'll have whatever that is. I don't care. It looks really nice." And then came out as a gin and tonic, and like, "It's a gin and tonic," and I was like,
Yeah, we're like, oh, no.
"Okay."
No,
And then
that-
had it, and I was like, "God damn, this is what I've been missing for so long."
Do you remember what
and a
gin it
little-
was?
No, I wasn't told.
I'm sure it's something cheap and nasty.
Yeah, I'm probably sure it was cheap and nasty, but we didn't like care. It's in the Western suburbs.
and
it's
little-
good.
We didn't pay for it.
Yeah, we didn't pay for it.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
In
it was on someone's corporate
2019,
credit
2019, the USA, as the entire population, drank themselves through 68.9 million liters of gin. Which I thought
Wow, well, I
pretty
hope that was all in their
astounding.
own economy.
Oh,
So I
that
missed it.
was pretty fantastic.
Okay, I've got a question. So, aviation gin. And Ryan Reynolds involved in aviation gin and basically sold it for an absolute fuck ton of money. And there's other, it's a very cool bottle. It's very
It's a
American.
lovely
An American gin that was endorsed by a Canadian.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
oh, the irony.
Yeah.
I've never tasted it. I've actually got a bottle at home. Have you? Obviously, you would have tasted aviation, have you, or no? Is that it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, right. Crap. Okay.
See,
Because I was going to
think
say,
it's like drinking
So
right.
far, the question's really good.
no. My question is more about Americans and where they are. What's your perception of America and where they are with gins?
I wouldn't base it off aviation.
I wouldn't base it off aviation
No,
at
I
all.
just use that as a starter because it's the only.
I would
Good
say-
gins, it's
Yeah, they're more in kind of like the contemporary or new Western category, which
Right,
is the same
yeah.
thing. So they're
Yeah.
kind of like where Australia is, or like they're like 2 years in front of us. But yeah, like when we went to like when we were first starting out and stuff like that, and we discovered out the contemporary genre, and then on our honeymoon we went to Canada and then dabbled in the US a little bit as well. We went and visited a lot of distilleries, and we wanted to try their gins and stuff as well. And they're going down, like, well, they had and were going down the New Western line. And what they were doing was really, really, really cool. Like, they were not afraid to like go outside the genre. They were like eager to use stuff that they could kind of like find places, which was really fun and cool. And some of them like have their own stories. Like a lot of some of them use like honey and stuff.
Yeah,
which
we're
is
talking
now
Yeah.
like something that's
There's
creeping up in Australia, which is common. You have like gins here that use honey as a botanical. And yeah, it was just really cool to kind of see a lot of those things going on. And that's what the contemporary and new Western is about. Like it's about being a bit more adventurous, still keeping juniper first and foremost, but being able to just kind of just play with it on the other end as well and just do you and don't worry about anybody else. It's really punk rock.
Yeah, that's cool. You mentioned honey. I've learned a fair bit about honey fairly recently because I've got a little project that I'm working on. But I saw a presentation from the US Honey Board, and they were talking about honeyed spirits. And one of the lines, which I found quite interesting, was they said honey is actually an amplifier of flavour. It works really, really well with botanicals and certain combinations of botanicals. It just amplifies the impact of the botanical. So I thought that was quite interesting, something to explore down the track.
There's some Aussie gins that use honey
already.
Really amazing.
Yeah. And they're absolutely fantastic.
We went to
a question from the audience actually that actually came in a little while ago. I've been a little bit slow. The Aussie craft scene's putting out some awesome products. What are the distilleries that you're excited about at the moment?
Now, actually, break that into two. Break that into local Australia, but also international.
Yeah,
well, Black Snake certainly.
Yeah.
International. Like I've been interested in and followed them for a while. Is Wayward over in Vancouver Island? We actually on our honeymoon drove 3 hours to Wayward
just to see them.
Just to see them because we read this article where they had made rum from honey because they were a meadery that then distilled, and they accidentally cooked up their honey when loading it into the still, and it made it into a molasses, and they turned it into a rum. So we drove 3 hours out of our way
just to see and talk to them,
just to see them, and then they didn't have the rum, and we drove 3 hours.
But we had a really good honey and chili liqueur that was really cool over there, which is
different.
A match made in heaven.
Sweet and spice.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah, culinary. Like when you're going after and chasing after ideas, always look to culinary, and people love to be surprised. Like I used to trick myself with all of these sensory analysis kind of experiments, and kind of started getting into like molecular gastronomy and just absolutely loving it. And that's kind of what drew me to like the science of spirits distillation.
How good would a Heston Blue Menthol collaboration be?
You pronounced that right.
It would be pretty good. That guy is insane.
Absolutely.
There's a realization I'm starting to, it's really starting to resonate with me is, spirits are food, right?
Yeah.
And so when you want good food, right, and so you want good spirits, and the relationship between spirits and food and matching and that, it's mind blowing. What you can do. You can use it to complement. You can use it to contrast, and it's really, really exciting, isn't it? When you take food and spirits and combine them and think just outside the box. The traditional. What goes with what.
And even if you pair one thing that's very defined with another thing that's perfectly defined, and then having them meet together to create something really new is really exciting. And it's the most exciting thing ever. And just having people, when they realize that moment, it doesn't matter what it is, and they just don't expect it, and it takes them by surprise, is magic. And I feel like that's kind of what spirits does.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm thinking about, for those who don't know, so Craftworks and Karu are good friends, but we also have, we've done projects together, and we'll do projects together in the future. We did barrel aged gin, where we took a Craftworks X whiskey cask that was originally a 40-year-old sherry cask. And rather than just take a standard gin and put it into the cask and go, well, there's a barrel aged gin. The approach was to actually treat the barrel as a botanical, and the
100%.
flavors that were pulled off the barrel, which was very, very interesting approach. And Ali, you spent a lot of time particularly pulling it apart and then trying to marry the botanicals to work and complement and accentuate the flavors, like the toffee notes that were coming off the barrel.
And I also had to learn what sherry was because I'd never had it before.
Yeah, we did a sherry masterclass with the oak barrel before this to get some understanding.
To try to know what it was.
That's the first
because
time I ever put sherry in the fridge, because we were told on the masterclass it belongs in the fridge. It was like, oh, okay, sherry belongs in the fridge, does it?
Yeah, like that happened afterwards, but it was like it was just kind of like researching it all and just kind of breaking it down, because at that stage we hadn't done any like barrel maturation at that stage. And so Crafty, unless he was pretending, didn't know that much about gin, and we didn't know that much about barrel maturation. So it was a really good kind of kind of a good kind of way to meet in the middle, and just Crafty got to learn a little bit about gin and things from a gin perspective, and that you just can't put things in a barrel and they'll turn out great. And we learned about, like, you know, how basically barrels work with spirit and what they contribute to it, and what was in there beforehand, and the whole history of the barrel, and getting a spirit to play nice with that. So yeah, that was really awesome, and thank you so much for giving us that opportunity, because I personally really loved that gin a lot, and I love the story behind it, and I love telling people about it as they're drinking it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting into the comments, so I didn't get to taste it, but others have, and they loved it.
Crafty's probably still got some.
He's probably hoarding.
No, long sold, my friend. Long sold.
Yeah, it's a really rare release. We get people asking us all the time where they can get it, and I'm like, I don't know.
we at the end of the whole thing, we bought a bottle each, and I got home and I'm like, I'm just going to drink this, and I smashed it. And then Ali's like, I'm saving it, and now I'm like, oh, Ali.
My 70th birthday, I might have a dram. If I survive that long, I don't know.
What's really cool about what we're talking about here, though, is this is a real demonstration of what is happening in the craft space. It's people exploring and trying different things, and particularly we speak from a position of Australian spirits. It's like, fuck it, give it a go, try things, and it doesn't always work, does it? It doesn't always work, and things go wrong.
Yeah, most of the time they'll go wrong. If you put enough energy into it, like, and you care about it enough, it's going to start wrong, but it's going to end fantastic.
Yeah,
start wrong, cool. Fantastic. Yeah. That's great.
So, what's exciting you now? You've got a lot of things going on. You've got your rum coming out fairly shortly. You've got your the new vodka. You're busy. You're very, very busy. Like a lot of small craft distillers, you wear many, many hats. Some you want to wear, and others you don't want to wear. Like answering emails, Nick. But we'll talk about that.
Or actually reading the content of said email. Sorry.
It's insane.
Yeah. So where are you going? What's your focus? If you had to focus on something, and what is your focus right now?
Making booze in the shed and not having to go to shows.
Yeah.
Hide in the shed and make booze.
Hide in the shed and make booze. We're really trying to get our tasting room up and running. We've had a stupid amount of expensive hurdles on that one. And we really want to showcase something completely different and unique. It's an experience when you come to our distillery. So we've got that in the works. Hopefully towards the end of the year, we'll have that up and running. We've got our rum. That's getting very close. The first cask hit the 2-year mark. It is the only rum, well, I could be wrong, but it is probably the only rum in the country to be evacuated age. It got a little cheeky bit of hybrid aging.
Yeah, there was 4 barrels that got evacuated in the Black Summer.
We took it out. Yeah, we evacuated our whole distillery during the fires, and we had 4 casks down. And as we was loading everything, getting everything ready to go, and we were prepping, and Ali said we're evacuating the cask, and I'm shitting myself because it's like bring these fucking casks and back to the truck.
I did not miss my friends' birthdays.
That's it.
And everything like that, just to have it go up in flames.
He's like, I didn't waste my late 20s not seeing my family or my friends. Fucking evacuating this. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So we got it out and got it back. And so it spent Christmas at our house in the shed on the back of a truck. And
hang on. But across the road from you is?
Oh, we got a little police station.
Just a tiny, minuscule police station. No one would barely notice it. If we don't go to sleep to like red and blue lights, is it really nighttime?
We are. So yeah, those 4 casts, I think I'd like to say that sped it up a little that summer. But yeah, that's coming out towards the end of the year. And at this stage, that's sort of it. We're not racing. We're in no rush to get anything out. Like, we're in no rush to get new products out there as quick as possible.
We've got all the time in the world, hopefully.
Yeah. So we just like to focus on making good quality spirits, and then from there
and then just bringing people along for the ride as well.
We really just want to build up like an experience, something really different when you come and try our products or come to our distillery.
It's the reason you go there is you get the Karu culture. So yeah, that's kind of what we're after.
Breakfast spirits. I just saw Vince.
I hope you'll be like joining us, James.
Yeah, open for breakfast.
I think he's already there. I
I
know I am. You had me at breakfast spirit.
So what's
now we actually get a question. Sorry, Crafty. We before we go on, we did actually get a question much earlier on that I haven't been able to fit in yet. Nope, not that one. One sec. Done that one. This one. Kellyanne Killen. How many bottles were you hoping to sell in your first year, and how has that number increased 3 years in?
I hope to sell 1 bottle.
Yeah, I mean,
one. Happy with 1.
Pretty much, that's it.
I would be thrilled and shocked if someone bought 1 bottle that year and took us seriously.
Pretty much
it wasn't my mum.
Yeah. But then,
I don't know, that 3 years we've had a fire, a flood, a pandemic, another flood.
So when it comes down to numbers and stuff like that,
no idea.
Every year you kind of hope that it would increase. But coming down to like what happens in December, like the December curse of the universe, like this kind of does some stuff. So we're looking forward to having a relatively normal year, touch wood.
So what the fuck is normal, really?
By the end of the year. So,
if the last 3 years are anything to judge by, normal doesn't exist.
No, we were born in chaos. I don't know what it is.
The other day we were
everything else is just a mere fly in the ointment, really.
The other day we left the distillery and we finished the cellar door and we're busy. We had this Fever Tree Gin and Tonic Festival the following weekend, and it was starting to rain, and the rain was getting close to the bridge, and we're like, it's okay, we'll go around the long way. And then we're like, yeah, no worries. And then we get home, and then we wake up the next day and it's like, well, all the bridges are flooded.
Our house is like a couple of 100 meters away from like being evacuated as well. And we just go off to see if we can maybe try to get to our distillery and meet our local MP in the park. And we're like, yo, what's going on? Like,
and she's like, yeah, everything's shut off. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We can't get any of our stock for this Fever Tree Festival. Oh, okay.
Oh, well, what a shame.
Well,
of course this happens. Like,
all right, we'll just figure something out. Luckily, like, we've got lots of friends that helped us, and we got it. Dan from Funky Drop had a bunch of stock up in Newcastle.
Yeah, so he graciously let us have it.
Our good friend Inky, who lives in Wilberforce, when the Putty Road opened, he drove 5 hours and got a stock.
If that's not friendship, I don't know what is.
It was crazy.
Incredible.
freaking, and he wouldn't. I tried to give him a bottle of booze, he wouldn't accept it. I had to end up putting it in his car when he wasn't looking. And,
It's probably still
like, but you know, that's the kind of thing happens. You're like, oh yeah, cool. Like, all right, here we go again.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, you know,
It'll be right. It'll be over soon.
it's just, I hate the saying it is what it is, but it is what it is. Like, you just have to go, cool, that just happened. Now, how do we make it work with that staring us in the face? Like,
The industry's super supportive.
Yeah, super supportive. Like when we came back from a gin festival in Melbourne and we had a fire 1 kilometre away from our distillery in the valley. We were very lucky that it was like it wasn't windy that day. Otherwise, we would have been gone that day. But like had people beforehand, because before that, story time. We had a very terrible week where Nick's car shat itself, my car blew itself up.
Ali's car caught itself on fire.
And then so we had to borrow my parents' car, but they had a flat tire and there was a lightning storm. And it's like, what do you do with lightning and water in the middle? I don't know, probably try to change the tire. And
we got to Junipalooza like just in time.
Yeah, just in time. We were so tired. And then we did this colossal festival, which was a lot of fun, but it was very tiring.
So
and then drove back to New South Wales and just keep getting all these text messages going, are you guys all right? And it's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm just a bit tired. Like, what's up? And they're like, oh, no, like, are you guys literally okay? Like, and sending me, like, kind of, like messages. And we're just like, what the hell?
We're fucking
so,
hungry and there's
nothing we can do. And so it's just like, oh, man. And that was the start of it all. And it was just like, oh, God. And so everything from then has just been like, yeah, you know, we just need a good massage.
Stories of distillers. I will give you one hot off the press today, and it's not me. So I got a phone call. I got a message from Valero from Jawaja, and he said, "I'm going to Dubbo. I'd love to swing past." And I said, "Yeah, okay. I'm in lockdown, but you know we can make it work. I can do recreation." So anyway. Valero was going to turn up at 12 o'clock today, and nothing. And I thought, yeah, that's fine, no worries. You know, I was working away, and I think he rocked up about 6 o'clock. And so he told me his story. So, and this is a distiller's story. You know, this is the sort of thing distillers do. So he wanted to get some portaloos, and he found a place, and he had to pick him up from Dubbo. So Mittagong to Dubbo. So he's got his trailer, and he's driving there, picks him up, and he's not too sure how to go back. So he dials into Google Maps, and Google Maps says, go this way. So decides to take him through rural New South Wales country gravel roads, and he gets utterly lost on the roads. Then he runs out of petrol because he had no intention of taking the long way home, right? So he's stuck, and then the cop car comes past. So he goes, oh, that's all right, right? So he waves to the cop car, and the cop car basically looks at him and goes, no, fuck off, and carries on. So Valero's on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere in country New South Wales. He's got no fucking idea where he is. Then a truck comes down. So he sees the truck driver, and Valero being Valero, he didn't want to inconvenience the truck driver, so he didn't flag him down. The truck driver pulls over, assesses the situation, and says, all right, and loans him some fuel. So Valero fills up and finally gets to my place, about 6 o'clock or whatever. And now he's heading back to Mittagong with a couple of shitters on the back. His attitude was, all this was happening. It was like, what do you do? This is the life of a distiller.
Yeah, when we went to go to Victoria and we picked up our capping machine, the petrol gauge stopped working, so we kept driving without petrol until we stopped. And we had to sign up to the NRMA on the spot and all this other kind of stuff because I didn't realize that it had all expired, and it started to sprinkle, and we're like, we've got this $6,000 piece of equipment. For us, that's a lot of money, and we're just like, and why does this keep happening?
People are like, just leave it in mechanic. Like, no.
No, I don't want to.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
Now, you guys are heading to Ginapalooza in November, aren't you?
Yeah, we got a bunch. We got Ginapalooza coming up at Carriage Works in Sydney, which is going to be really, really exciting. It's the first time Ginapalooza has come to Sydney. We got Ginapalooza in what's that state that we really like? Melbourne. We got Ginapalooza.
Carriage Works or Sydney Town Hall?
Oh shit! I don't know anymore.
It's all changed a lot since then.
Maybe there's two.
Maybe there's two. Yeah, maybe. Well, I just bought tickets for the Sydney Town Hall one, so in November.
Yeah, we're probably.
Oh, that's another one. We're there.
We're probably there.
You're on the fucking list. So.
Well, there you go. We're there. Yeah, we're at that one.
We were testing you and you passed.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be at Ginapalooza and
you're at all the Ginapaloozas, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you there.
Yeah. Oh,
I might need my pseudo dad.
Well,
I hope
that'd
so.
be.
I'm happy to be surrogate dad. Yeah. He's a great son.
Yeah, I bought tickets for what was it? Whiskey Live.
Yeah.
And my dad from Victoria couldn't make it.
Oh.
I need to find a dad.
So I had to step
There's
up.
one up there. A little bit further up.
Yeah.
And oh boy, did we have a good time.
We
I know, I got all the texts.
Absolutely shit-faced. I called my dad afterwards and he said, you were talking sideways.
Oh, we did. We had this guy at Whiskey Live in Sydney. We did, and
oh my goodness, we tell everyone about this story because I just cannot believe
if you're watching,
real.
Guy, I'm sorry.
Not sorry. You are a legend. I can't even.
We had this bowl of botanicals that were dehydrated,
and we took them all around the country with us. And this was the last show that we were doing on like a 3-month kind of tour.
And a piece of grapefruit in there that a lot of people had touched.
Yeah, and so because we're at a whiskey festival, is like there's a lot of peated whiskey around. So this guy comes up to us and he goes, "Eat," and I thought he meant peat, and I like whiskey. So I was like, "Oh no, none of this is peated whiskeys. Like you should probably go to that stand." And he's like, "No, eat," and I was like, "Again, no, I don't have any peat." And he picks up our display. Takes it, starts eating it, and I'm like, "Oh no, you don't want to eat that." Like 0 of COVID, and oh my god, I was like, "No," and then
he went for a second bite.
He pauses for a bit, and I swear I remember this in slow motion where he pauses, looks at it, looks at me, looks at it again, and then eats it, and I was like, "No, what are you doing?"
And then he left.
Needed something to eat. When you're hungry, you're hungry.
Oh dear.
I give you a word of advice for your cellar door. Don't put botanicals out on the bar.
Yeah, because they all eat it, don't they?
That happens with me. I have a bowl of botanicals. People come up and they go, "Oh, yeah, all the spirits, yeah, dump, yump," and you go, "Oh, fuck it."
Yeah. One day I was doing cellar door and I thought it was going to be a quiet weekend, so I decided to de-seed a whole bunch of pomegranate for a Affinity gin. And so I'm standing there and I'm de-seeding it. I've got like pomegranate juice all over my face, so it looks like I've killed someone. And then having to explain
how are you de-seeding it?
Welcome to the Devil's Wilderness.
And then I'm trying to like explain that Nick isn't here today, but it's not for that reason. And then people would just come along, so I would have like group after group after group, and I still have all of this pomegranate just lying around that I need to de-seed like 4 days ago. And people just started coming up and just started eating this pomegranate, and I'm just like, I'm really happy that you're enjoying this. Like, if that's the worst bit of the outcome, I can tell you it hasn't been sitting around for like 3 months. It's
fresh.
I still need that to make gin, by the way. It was season, so
You can borrow it for a moment, but I want it back.
Every little bit that you've eaten is a little bit that I can't put in the gin. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's time for.
Oh no.
Todd time?
You have more questions?
We got more questions. Todd?
Yeah, we got more questions. I'll find something.
Yeah.
Once
Todd's
he's
5
finished
seconds of
playing
fame.
around with his stick.
The quiz, more
Okay.
questions. We need a sound effect so we know what's going on.
I've been trying.
Sorry. Yep.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
We just remembered our questions to
Question that we've
Crafty.
been literally asked, like thinking about all week.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Sorry.
So go and ask it. I'll pretend I'm asking it. So
Yeah, what's the question?
Makes it weirder.
what's
What's the question?
Where does Todd sleep when he's working at the distillery?
Oh, you really want to know?
not beside
Caravan?
Todd has never slept in the caravan.
No, of course
He
not.
sleeps in a plastic bag on the grass. Would you like to elaborate on that, Todd?
plastic bag on. It's a very luxurious swag.
Oh, I thought that was the case.
Oh,
That
that
sounds
was,
a lot more comfortable than.
oh, that was you.
I would have thought
It's a
Crafty
step
would
up
be
from the back of the
listening.
car, but
No, he does sleep in the back of the wagon. He does too. But in winter, it's quite funny. We
I've
see him
done that.
climb into the swag, and then I wake up in the middle of the night and I go outside, and the thing is just covered in ice. And you go, he's cold. He's feeling it.
it's quite crispy
You've got a
inside.
lower freezing point than vodka, so.
It was the last time I was out there was a couple of weeks ago. It was -6 overnight.
Yeah,
so
but
it was a bit crispy.
No, it was -6, and I don't know. We were celebrating something. No, we weren't. We were just drinking in the shed.
You don't need to celebrate, just do it.
Yeah, and we
I
had
think
a
it was
local mate.
15 barrels.
Testing barrels, and it was -6, and I went to bed
I
in the
can't
caravan,
remember.
and rather than hop
That's right.
in the bed, I hopped on the little wee couch, and I had a single sheet, and I woke up in the middle of the night freezing, and then I climbed into the bed, and I didn't have the heater on. It was -6, and I fared okay, but I thought, Todd, you must have really felt it, but you said, nah, I didn't feel a thing. So,
Are you going to invest in a second caravan or a double bedroom caravan
Or
or?
a Craftworks distillery tent.
no, I got a bigger mill. That'll be the next thing.
No,
I understand that.
can't sleep in that, though.
Everything centers around what can I get to improve the shed. Like people say, oh, you need a bigger caravan, and I go, no, I love my caravan. It's cozy. It's fine, but bigger mill. I take a bigger mill. So what's your questions, Todd? Because you've got some questions.
I do have some questions. Okay. What did gin and tonic help prevent in the 1800s?
Malaria.
Yes.
Yay!
And boring conversations.
And boring conversation. Yep.
And sobriety.
Yeah, that too. I had a bout of sobriety once, but it's cleared up now.
Oh, it's nasty when you get it, isn't it?
Oh, it's just
You can get an
unbearable.
ointment for it.
Okay, so
Any
the next
other,
one's I've got one more.
Yeah.
What does orris root do in gin?
I'm gonna say give it more of an earthy,
Yeah.
bitter. Yeah, because they use it in a lot of like amaros and stuff like that as well.
It's one of your main ingredients.
Yeah.
Is it a fixer?
London dry.
Yeah,
Is it
so
a
you're
fixer
on
as
the
well?
right track. Apparently, it's the base note binding and stabilizing other
fixer.
flavors. Yeah,
I said
it
something
tends to
about
be a
gin.
bit earthy, woody, sweet. You did, and you remembered it. It was quite good.
Yeah, I've been reading.
Crafty, you're a gin expert.
No.
I knew this would happen.
A lot of research.
Good thing I signed you up for all of those newsletters.
Didn't I hear
Actually,
you
I've been
say
reading
that
Marcel's
Crafty's
books.
gin was the
Still
best
Magic.
ever?
Sorry? I missed that.
Before we went on air, they were saying that your gin is one of the best in the country.
Allegedly.
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 Every chance it's good, Crafty.
Yeah.
It's
does
not
all right.
98. It's
It
not a
sells a little bit,
98,
it
but
sells
it's pretty good.
It's fucking good. It's a nice gin.
It's nice, yeah. I like it. Ask Crafty about like his take, like how taken back he was by celery seed.
Oh yeah.
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 So, all right, we need to fill in the blanks. So
Yep.
Nick and Ali are very much instrumental in helping me get into gin, to the point that I went, Nick and Ali, I need to get into gin. Can you help me? And so they did. And Nick was wandering around the pub, staggering around the pub, and he goes, "Oh, there's rosemary." And I went, "Yeah, I think so." And he goes, "That'll go well."
Not a lady and a plant.
No. yeah, rosemary from Black Goat. Black Snake. There's rosemary. No. So anyway,
Make that situation happen.
That was the start of putting together Craftworks Capity Gin. So sitting down with Nick and Ali, distilling individual botanicals and tasting all these different botanicals distilled and working out flavor profile, and celery seed. Yeah, that was the secret, not so secret ingredient now at a very, very, very low percentage that just sort of resonated, didn't it, Nick? It was just, it popped.
Yeah,
it worked really well.
It pulled the gin together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the gin is using rosemary. It grows on the grounds of Capity Pub, lemons and limes from down the Capity Valley, a little bit of wattle seed. That's the main distinguishing botanicals, but a whole lot of root, lots of different root in there for various reasons. And it's a great gin.
So if you like a good root,
you like a good root, go for the gin. But gin, I find gin. It took me ages to get into gin, but like you, Ali, I just like London gin, London Dry. Yeah, didn't like it. And when I started discovering gins, I realized just how creative gin was. But the cool thing about gin is you make it and you can taste it. And after a week or so, you got an idea of, you've got something which you know where you are. So the R&D curve on gin is massively quicker than whiskey. That's for sure. It's totally different.
Yeah.
It's totally different. But it's such a creative platform, and it excites me.
We've come a long way.
Eh?
We've come a long way in little old Craftworks from we're never going to make a gin, haven't we? Really?
We're never going to make a gin, and there's a banner out the side in front that says "gin and whiskey."
Is that good? There's a what?
There might be a banner on the old highway.
On the highway now, gin and whiskey. Yeah.
I will see you at the IWSC Awards.
No, you've got to stand next to it at the gin festival.
No, we have a gin.
We've actually had two
it's a good gin
that are pretty similar. From Prestige Liquids, we've got, is there a botanical that you want to use that you haven't played around yet? And we've also had William Rule. Have you done much research into more obscure native Australian botanicals?
Yes.
Yes. So yes to both of them. So we start off with like the first one. So there's a berry that I cannot pronounce, and it's from it's not from Australia, but it's like I cannot pronounce it for the life of me. But it is the most interesting berry. Like from day one, like basically what I would do when I used to work this dead end job was order all of these different berries and spices and get them delivered to work. And then my lunch break would literally be sitting on the floor eating all of these unknown berries and spices because I was really broke. Still am. But like, so I found this one that started with S. I can't remember it for the life of me. And it was like, it boasts every single profile under the sun. I think I gave it to you, Crafty, without telling you anything about it. And you were like, what is this? It literally has sweet, sour, earthy, spicy, all in the same mouthful. It was like incredible. I'm still, because we've just been so busy, I still want to, whether we release anything with it or not, but I still really, 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 really want to play with it a lot more.
We've eaten, distilled, brewed over hundreds of botanicals. We have boxes and boxes of just weird shit. And some of them work.
Some of them really don't.
And some of them we still haven't learned how to use
yet. So it's one of those things where you keep learning and you learn and you learn. So it's what Crafty often says is like what you know, if you know what you know now, when you know, like then. Crafty, quote yourself, please.
Okay. What I say is, I know what I know now. Oh, Jesus, here we go. I know what I know now, and I knew what I knew a year ago. And a year ago, I knew so much less than what I know now. So I know a year from now, I'll know so much more than what I know now. And that's really exciting. So it's this constant quest of knowledge.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where
knowledge.
You might not understand that botanical with your knowledge at that time or now, but when you start going along and you start to learn more about the science of it, because like you're always learning, and if you're not always learning, then you're doing something very wrong. And so getting to the point of going back and revisiting it with what you know now can be totally different to what you knew then. So long story short, to answer that, yes. And yes, we will come back and revisit some weird, obscure botanicals that we've wanted to work with. Unfortunately, I can't give you a name because I can't pronounce it.
Sincipalum?
That sounds good. Sincipalum.
Yeah, that'll work. Yep. So it's
remember.
Causes sour foods to taste sweet.
No. But that does sound really interesting, but it's not that. But
Todd, can you order some of that? We're going to start experimenting with it.
Gonna bug me so much. I literally got a whole bag of it.
Todd, just half the things you have to order, just all of them, just come out, ask us first.
Yeah, because they're probably.
I like how he asked the unpaid apprentice to buy the things to test.
There's some like really like I'm one of the ones that really fascinates me, that not so much that we're going to use, but I want to go and see one of our fellow distillers that uses this botanical and try it by itself. Is a lot of the seaside botanicals really interest me, because like you got that salt, it fucks you still up, you know, like you've got like all these different kind of profiles that come through on it, and that's one that's always really interested me. And on the obscure native botanicals ones, we've got a couple that we're working on, and a couple things around the distillery that we're really, really interested on.
And really cool. And there's some things that reside, like botanicals that reside there, which you probably especially wouldn't be able to use for gin, but they're interesting on their own, and they're like and they're native botanicals. So like the woodsy pear.
Oh, we love the woodsy pear.
So yeah, they come out and they're always really exciting. The first time I ever saw one, I freaked out. I was like, what the heck is this weird thing hanging from the tree? I've never seen it before. And we both grew up in like rural areas.
We both grew up in the bush.
So yeah, it was just like, wow, this is so crazy. And then like going and doing your research and reading every single book. Like I got like my auntie and uncle got me like all these Australian botanical books. So you would just go walking and like take photos of what you saw and then go refer to it back in the book and write notes and all this other kind of stuff and just like
woodsy pear?
Yeah, woodsy pear.
So they used to make it gets it looks like a pear, 2 seeds in it, and they used to make those seeds into like bread,
like kind of like a flour and stuff like that. But like, you wouldn't get that much from just one pear because they only released 2 seeds.
So we love them. They're cool and
Yeah.
they're just super weird.
And
like-
everyone gets really freaked out when they see them, and they're just like, "Whoa, what is that?"
We got a bunch of them now because of post fires. Like they weren't really around
Yeah.
before that, but they come out after fires. So post the fires, we've got heaps of them around, and it's kind of really cool. We want to do something with them. There's a lot of Aussie botanicals, and there's a lot of weird and crazy ones. There's a lot that have like amazing aromas,
Yeah.
but it's really hard to make sure that you can use them.
Yeah, so you have to really do your research there.
So there's a lot we want to work with, but there's like we got this one that from Mungo National Park brought to us, and this is like it's got this insane aroma, but we can't find out enough about it to make sure if it's like good enough, like if it's something that you can actually eat and not get sick. Like it's like wattle seed. Like wattle seed, there's only a couple of actual wattle plants that produce the right seed that then when you toast it's not toxic.
That aren't toxic. So it's like it's about
and they don't grow in our region.
yeah.
And
so you got to know your raw materials and what you're using.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're also just wandering around like the bush eating botanicals. That's probably not a very good idea.
no.
So what you should do is like the first thing that you do is kind of like on your wrists and inside there are the most sensitive parts of your skin. So if it's dangerous to you, probably rub it there first and then wait 24 hours before you go along and start chomping it. So
Right. If you don't get hives, you can use it in a spirit.
I probably wouldn't still do that. I would still probably do further research, but it just means that it's not going to kill you immediately.
But it is the reason, like Aussie Botanicals is one of the reasons that Australian gins are taking the world. Like we are taking the world, and that is really fucking cool.
Yeah, because everyone like is always like, "Oh yeah, no, it's England's the capital. It's England's the capital," and that's not even where it came from. It's like the category of the spirit is not really bound to where it originated. It's where it finds its big boom of success at a certain point of time. So, in like probably like 100 years, they'll be writing in textbooks if they still have them then. About like, you know, the Australian kind of like influence and stuff like that on gin, whereas like, you know, other parts in Europe had their kind of like, I think, for whatever my knowledge is worth, which is nothing, kind of originated from and how it kind of got to country to country to country. Yeah.
But also the thing with gin that I've learned, and I think Marcel really highlighted it in his book, Still Magic, which I've just read and reread recently, which I think is a fantastic book. You know, for anyone wanting to make
I
gin.
wish that I had when we started.
Sorry?
It's the book that I wish that we had when we started.
Yeah, I know. I read it now and I go, wow. It's how it relates back to food, but also, you know, working your botanicals is like an orchestra. It's all got to work in unison. It's all got to work in balance. You know, you can throw a shit ton of botanicals and think you're making something creative, but it just doesn't work because the botanicals don't work with each other, or they don't work with the juniper or whatever. So it's how it all comes together. So
together, 100% right.
That's
so like
the art form.
Yeah, so like my bare minimum kind of education is literally like high school. Didn't get a UAI or anything like that. But like, you know, it's one of those things where when things start to spark intrigue and you start to follow little breadcrumbs that are being left for you that are invisible to the information that you need to have. And so like when we were learning about gin and stuff like that, it was like, you know, I used to chew gum all the time before I had to like literally reserve my palate to actually taste spirits. And so I'd be like, well, what makes that mint linger and stuff like that, like on your breath? Like, so trying to find out what does that, looking at the back of gum packets and stuff like that for any ingredient that could kind of like, you know, give me a hint of something. And it turns out that's cardamom. So it's like cardamom kind of like carries like aromatic profiles and stuff like that.
Are you writing down these little tidbits over there, by the way?
It's all good. It's all good. This is recorded.
I've told you this about like 100 times.
Sometimes it
No,
takes
I don't
100
know.
Don't tell Crafty, tell Todd.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
so it was
desperate
just
to
kind of
get
like
out
going
there the
about
next time I
that.
do the run.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, you want a profile in there, and you're not necessarily going to get it in there from just adding it in there. You have to add an enhancer for that to come out or something like that, and use a different botanical as a conduit, basically.
Yeah.
So,
So this actually made me feel like having a gin. So I have, and the gin that I have on hand is
Sunny Hill from last
I
week.
haven't had that one.
last week, Sunny
Sam.
Hill.
Yeah.
Which I just received yesterday, and it's a wheat gin, a wheat base. What's your mash bill? What's your base? How do you? I mean, their thing is they grow the wheat, they malt the wheat, and then they distill the wheat.
So we use across, like, we've got Lightning, Affinity, and Marita now. So Marita uses a wheat base, and the gins use a cane base. So we grow a lot of the botanicals, not like a reasonable amount of them. So we grow a lot of them on site. So we use fresh botanicals. So we want something that is clean as possible, so it has no flavor whatsoever. If you see our distillery, we are not an industrial setup to be able to create something that has zero flavor. So that's where cane spirit comes in. So we want the fresh botanicals to do all the work, and not have the base spirit be something that is so like loud and like overbearing. So that's how you build your botanical bill on top of your base spirit.
Which
you believe it adds flavour,
it's
mouthfeel too, don't you?
So different base spirits add different things to it. So grape, I feel, has more of like a mouthfeel to it than, like, say, cane or wheat. Wheat has more of like a creamier profile, whereas for me personally, cane has more of just a very neutral flavor that doesn't have any other kind of characteristics in it other than kind of a little bit more sweeter, very subtle sweet notes.
Right.
Yeah.
The way I describe it to people in Salador is your base spirit is your canvas and your botanicals are your paints.
It's your flour in bread, and the botanicals are the other ingredients that make it rise and all that other kind of stuff. And like we do, like with rum and stuff like that, we make it like I do that from scratch. That's why I'm always covered in crap. Like, so it's not a matter of like, can you do it or not? It's more of a, what's the purpose of this? Where is it going? And if you can do that for the love of it, that's fantastic. But our facility does not have the ability to create something that is neutral spirit. What we do is we use the same process as you would make neutral spirit to make rum, which our rum has a lot of flavor. Yeah.
So when will your rum be ready for me to taste?
Well, it just hit the 2-year mark the other week, which was really exciting. So I became an official legal rum distiller the other week. But yeah, so it's not, I feel like I should keep it back till the end of the winter. I'll come back and I'll reassess it. But it's tasting really, really, really good. But you can never go back when something is like in a barrel. You can't really take it further, but you can always take it a little bit back. So, that's kind of my philosophy there. So I'd rather leave it in a tiny bit longer and then see what that kind of gives to it and where I want to gauge the rest of it to kind of go.
So I'll just have to visit to get a sneaky taster out of the barrel.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that could be arranged.
Arranged.
We're only an hour away.
Yeah. So I promise you we'll make that hour worth now.
I may not
guys.
be able to drive home. That's the problem.
That's okay, because there's always a shelf that we can clear. We won't make you sleep in a plastic bag on the lawn like Todd.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're out to 1 minute 34, so we've definitely taken it out.
1 minute 34.
Yeah,
Wow.
we've been yabbering up. We've been shooting the shit for an hour 34. So
Oh wow!
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
In that time, you could have watched a movie or anything else.
I'm sorry for everyone who's tuned in.
There were no explosions.
I mean,
There were
the
explosions.
new Bill and Ted movie probably would have been better.
It's not you.
I live in a shed. I don't know what's going on.
hey, I'll tell you a story about a movie just quickly. So I'm
Not
a
that
big
movie.
Big fan of Christopher Nolan. Love it, everything he's done right from his early days, right? And when Tenet came out, I was angry. I just didn't like it. I felt like, what is wrong? It just didn't work on any front for me. So anyway, I just put it up there with Superman versus Batman, worst film we've ever made. But
Sub note, I would love to watch a movie with you that you hate. I would love that so much.
I get very upset. Very upset. So anyway, this week, Monday night. So I wasn't in the shed, and I thought I'm going to watch a movie. So I poured a couple of whiskeys and I watched Tenet in the caravan. Really good. Really, really good. I don't know what it was, but I watched it with friends and I was super excited. I don't know if it was high expectations or what, but I absolutely loved watching it on Monday. So I've decided now I'm going to give Superman versus Batman a go. You know, the Snyder movie.
No.
We've just switched from shooting the shit
To movie reviews with Crafty.
to movie reviews.
Don't waste your time, Craft. Just
Yeah,
you will be very,
that's
very
as good as it
fucking
gets.
angry at watching Superman and Batman.
I'm compiling like snippets of things that I would love to see in like a 3M slot on like a community channel TV where you just create this like 30-minute show of just snippets that are the same like content every single time. There would be like a Crafty not enjoying a movie segment. There would be Nick picking up things and saying something about the price every single time. Yeah.
That'd be great.
It would be worth being off at that hour for.
Well, I've got to go because I've got to mash in because I committed myself to a double brew today and I haven't even done my second
Idiot.
mission. So
what?
yeah,
And it was
I'm
all
committed
supposed to be
now.
finished
Going on
by
this
12.
road trip before.
Wow.
I've got water. I got water in the still.
And watching movies.
All these other luxuries of the world.
He's spending all his time on social media.
Oh. Trying on his
Oh,
stashes.
boy.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you. That was awesome. And I knew it would be. It's always good catching up with you guys. And yeah, you're passionate about Australian craft. You're all about what Aussie Craft Distillers Shooting the Shit's about. Any final words you want to say to the? I don't know how many people are watching, but it goes to YouTube. We tend to get a few more people on YouTube.
They're probably all gone to bed. It's been an hour and 38 minutes. I would have chilled out in 4 minutes. So thank you to anyone who stayed past. Yeah.
Past our bedtimes. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, listening to us shooting the shit and rambling. And welcome to our TED Talk. I was testing you guys, and you did not pass.
Drink local, buy local, enjoy Australian craft spirits.
Yeah.
And that's the spirit.
They're awesome.
And,
And
That's the spirit.
thank you guys so much for having us.
Oh,
And
It was a
if
pleasure.
you are not already subscribed, and I don't think you two are, you need to
You don't know
subscribe.
how to use phones and shit.
Just click
I
the
thought it was.
follow button, the subscribe button. I'm not talking about you, Ali. You're fine.
Oh,
Nick, your account is not following.
You don't. Have you not heard of the prizes? We got prizes.
No,
We've
I've
got-
seen the prizes. I want one of them.
Oh, Luke,
Yeah,
would
fucking
you,
awesome prizes. So,
Luke, would you like to
So he's
tell
trying to
tell
get
our
up to.
contestants what they could
Am I going to have to
potentially
watch
win?
an hour and 38 minute video interview?
Cue
No,
YouTube.
no,
to-
He's got to click
press
the.
the
Yeah,
button, eligible. No,
Tell them the prizes. Tell them the prizes.
if you press the button and hit the subscribe button, you become eligible to win Cooper for a day at YN Cooperage.
Oh,
Oh, you should 100. I'm going to do that right now, actually.
And
Yeah.
you walk
Right,
away
right
with your own 10-litre
There's
barrel,
more. Yep.
but not
And
one.
So you get a 10-litre barrel. Yep.
Is this
What?
on? Is this on,
There's
is
two.
this on
We've got
Spotify or?
On the
Insta.
Facebook and YouTube,
it's
just
on
follow,
the Facebooks.
follow all of
Just follow all of them, and then you'll be safe.
Amazing.
Yeah,
follow
just
all of them,
bomb
then you'll
them
be
all.
safe. And
But
then
there's
you
another-
also have,
there's
there,
another
but,
prize.
but wait, there's more.
There's way more. Go.
You get to watch a
McHenry
movie with
Distillery,
Crafty.
you get a night at McHenry Distillery.
Ah,
Oh, that'd be cool.
their Christmas gin is literally my seasonal favorite. If I don't have that for Christmas, it's not really Christmas.
Oh.
There's a big
And yet we
call
get a
out.
night. They have graciously given us a night at the distillery out
On-site.
there on site.
On-site accommodation on the distillery.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah.
curl up around the still for warmth. It's actually a cabin on Mount Arthur. You can like stand there nude and nobody else will know. Apparently,
No, Bill will be there.
Apparently.
Bill
And
will be
you
there.
never know about it until it turns up on the internet or it's in someone's memoir.
So,
best time.
the label of a beer bottle. So
So everybody, make sure you hit.
done.
That's good.
Now
Yeah,
you're
good.
eligible. Good.
Whoa, we got 102.
Well done.
We got to get to
Thank
800. 800 is our target.
700 more to go.
If you're listening and you haven't subscribed, just subscribe to Shooting the Shit on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Spotify. And look at
So
me
make it
learning all the
very
very
easy.
platforms.
So you
Very
looking
easy.
at getting to the camera is really weird.
And we have some great ones coming up. So we're interviewing Jesse from Stillcraft Chasing the Craft, podcaster, distiller in New Zealand. I've got a very big profile in the spirit scene in the craft space. We're interviewing Peter Bignall from Belgrove.
Yes.
Yay! An old
Pete's
favourite.
coming on, so that'll be awesome. We're interviewing the global director of who's responsible, I believe, for Westland Distillery in the US, which I'm looking forward to that. We're
We love that
interviewing
guy.
Alan Bishop from Spirit of the French Lick, who is one incredibly creative, crafty guy from down south in the US. And we also have, we're pulling this one together, Mark Rainier, who is the renegade on Whiskey Terroir and is Waterford Distillery. And we're doing a joint session with him and Stu Wycross from Voyager Craft Malt, specifically to talk about terroir. And that, the grain and terroir, and I am so looking forward to that. That's going to be a real geeky deep dive session, that one. What other ones we got coming up? Chrissy Lark from Clara.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're
She
doing
also
Chrissy
did
some
really,
stage.
really, really well in IWSC this year as well. So shout out to Chris.
Yes, she did very well.
Very
and we've
well.
also got the godfather of Australian
yeah.
whiskey, Mr. Bill Lark.
The
who will be
Larkmeister.
later in the year as well. So, and I forgot Cameron Symes from Lime Burners, Ginversity, and the other one I've forgotten. I'm terribly sorry. The Dugite Whiskey. The Dugite Whiskey. Sorry, Cam. Sorry. It's been a big night, and I got a lot of work.
That's all right. No one's going to be up listening to that now.
Yeah, I know. No one's watching anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, let's cut it. 1:43. We'll be out of here by 1:45. So, guys, thank you again, and we will catch up soon.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much
guys.
for having us.
Thanks, Aaron.
Shooting the shit.
It was been great having you.
See you guys.